So I'm just gonna jump us in right now.
Awesome.
So yeah, this is the 15th episode of the 100 podcast. Sorry about the delay. It's been like a month. I moved to Arizona, so I'm back to the valley for a little bit.
Thank God.
Yeah, just for a couple days.
Everybody.
Oh my God. Yeah, totally. But yeah, so today I got Daniel Harrison in, and he's a singer, songwriter, worship pastor, good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a little bit of everything. Website designer.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a few things, but how you doing today, bro? How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm super good, and I just super happy for you, man. I think this is awesome. I love how you're just a go-getter. You have great ideas, and I love this concept of your blog. I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. I'm excited for this one. This is
absolutely.
I hope this one's educational for everybody, and
for sure.
It'll be fun because we're friends outside of here.
Oh, absolutely.
We
wrestle in like swimming pools and stuff.
Yeah, you like try to choke me and
play basketball together, do life together.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the valley.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, but so I don't know. Let's start from the beginning. I guess obviously you're from the South, bro. How was it growing up in Alabama?
Yeah,
what was that?
It was good, man. It's beautiful. Obviously, it's a lot different than here.
Yeah,
It's called Alabama the Beautiful, so it's got lots of green trees and forests and rolling hills. And so my dad's been a pastor my whole life. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. We had a little church out there in the country, and I was there for 14 years. So I was 14. We moved out of this little tiny country town, planted a church in the big city of Birmingham, and then I went to a big school there. In fact, the high school I went to was called Hoover. So you may have heard Hoover. Hoover's on like ESPN all the time.
Yeah, they had a show, I think, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
really?
I saw the TV show.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah,
so
on MTV. I think they had one on MTV or no?
It was MTV.
I think it was on MTV,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
MTV,
then I did watch it. Yeah.
MTV did a show called Two-A-Days. Mm-hmm. So you know the Two-A-Days concept at football practice. You practice two times a day.
Yeah.
So it was a year after I graduated, so I wasn't really around.
Yeah.
But I was on one show. Like I had a bandana and it showed just the top of my head.
That's me.
Just the top of my head at a football game. I was like, "That's me." Of course, nobody believed me. So I was on MTV for like a second.
There you go. Famous from the beginning.
There's no proof that was my bandana.
Oh my God.
But yeah, they did a football show, and it was really cool. Some of my best friends were on the football team. Like Alex Bender was one of the middle linebackers, and he was like the star of the show. And so it was really cool to get to watch my friends from high school, be on MTV.
Yeah.
You see these shows like Laguna Beach, and all these people are like famous superstars, but they're just kids.
Exactly.
They're kids from high school.
Same issues and everything as everybody else. They're like, like you said, just kids. They act like they're adults and all grown men, and they're totally not that way.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I went to that school 4 years, and then when I was 18, my dad got an opportunity to move to California and to help co-pastor a church. So I'm the youngest of four. I have three other siblings. I was the last one in the house, and he called a family meeting, which was just me and my parents. And he said, "I have an opportunity to move to California. If you don't want to go, we won't go. But if you're willing to go, we'll go," which I thought was pretty cool, because what dad will say, "Hey, I have this opportunity for my life and my career. If you don't want to go, I'll stay here for you." So I'm like, I don't know if I would do that. Maybe I would. I mean, we're supposed to put our kids first, but at the same time, we're supposed to do what God has called us to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I told him, my words were like, you've been there for me my whole life, and I was a terrorizer, so I'll be there for you. So if you want to do this, let's go. So we had 3 weeks notice. Just 3 weeks. It was like, fell in our lap. 3 weeks later, we moved to California. So I was 18.
That is crazy, bro.
It's
kind of how Arizona worked out for me.
Yeah,
it was like,
same thing.
Just random. We're like, all right, we're just going to... Because I had a correctional job, it fell through, and it was like, do you still want to go? And we're like, yeah, let's figure it out. So I got another job, and then it was like, all right, we're going. And it was a couple weeks, and we're there.
And that's the cool thing about being open to letting the Lord just work in your life, you know, because we make our plan. I think there's a verse that says, we make our plans and the Lord laughs. You know, it's like, we should plan, but we should also be open because you never know. You know, like, obviously it was the Lord's plan for me to be in California. I never dreamed of being in California. I'm a Bama boy. I'm from the South. All my family, all my friends, my whole culture, everything I knew was in Alabama. So coming out here, like when we drove, by the way, we left the first day after Christmas. We got here on New Year's Eve to an empty house with no furniture. I think there was a couch. There was a couch and lots of boxes. We watched the ball drop, you know, in New York City, celebrating the New Year. Our first day here. But driving in the valley, you know, you come through Arizona, you know, or you come over the hill into the valley. Mm-hmm. They were calling it the worst smog day of the year. So it was like super dirty, you know. And my dad calls me on the phone because I'm behind him in my car, and he's like, "This is our home."
Yay!
And I was like, I was like, "This is not Laguna Beach.
This is not what California is
not what I see on TV." You know, like sand.
Yeah.
Dirt, desert, you know, smog. What is smog? I didn't even know what smog was. Like, I know how to get a smog check, like on my car, but
yeah,
you know,
but you guys have all kinds of forests and stuff over there, so it's all green and nice. The air's clean. And how is for like Birmingham? I don't know. I'm going back to, but Birmingham, like for a big city, is it like LA or is it like is it like that?
It's like
that
LA
style.
Yeah, there's the main city with like the skyscrapers, you know, and then there's rural areas surrounding the suburbs.
Yeah.
So, you know, it definitely changes. There's, you know, you're going from city to country, you know, in a matter of miles.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah, but go back to it. Sorry,
man. So I really loved Birmingham a lot. Got shot at in Birmingham.
Let's go into that story.
You want to go there real fast?
Yeah, let's go there. You can't bring it up and then not tell us about it.
Then we can go back to it.
Yeah, we'll just, whatever. We'll go back to that. This seems pretty interesting.
Wow, so, yeah, I'm not an exaggerator, so it can sound like I'm exaggerating. I don't exaggerate.
Yeah. So
this is, like, legitimately, like, I was at a bullet inches from my body. So... I'll try not to do the long version because it could be a long version. We want to talk about other things, but the short version is that
whatever, man. Say it however you want to say.
So
say a good story.
The short version is that so I had a neighbor who was into drugs and alcohol, and he was like this guy had like his face posted at clubs. Like, when you see this guy, he's not allowed to come in this
Kick
club.
Him out, basically.
Yeah. So he's been shot. He has, like, scars from being shot. He's, like, a big drug dealer. He's been in and out of jail forever, and he was my neighbor. But we were friends. He was really cool. You know, I loved him. We played basketball and, you know, hung out all the time.
Yeah.
And I was so naive, you know, at the time I was, like, 15. The first kind of thing he did that really jeopardized my life was he asked me to give him a ride to downtown Birmingham to sell drugs, but I didn't know he was selling drugs. He just asked, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" So I drive him to this place. He gets out of the car. He walks up to a guy. They do a little drug deal in the middle of the open. And he comes and gets back to my car. And I'm like, I was so mad. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, do you realize that you're jeopardizing my life? Like, I could go to prison with you.
Yeah.
For like 15 years or whatever. Exactly. If I get caught and, you know, I'm
part of this.
I'm just your neighbor. You asked me to give you a ride. So, but, you know, I was a kid and we continued to hang out anyway. So, my other friend, Jeremy Mitz, he was my best friend in high school. He went off to the Army, but he had a motorcycle that we wanted to sell. So, my friend's like, "Oh, I know some people in downtown Birmingham who would love to buy your motorcycle."
Yeah.
You know, so we're like, okay, cool, you know. So we take my mom.
Let's give him another chance. One more chance, he's got it.
I was such an idiot. So anyway, we let him drive the motorcycle, and me and my friend Jeremy get my mom's car, and he's like weaving in and out of traffic, you know, on the interstate.
Yeah.
Crazy dumb. Anyway, we go to a couple places. Nobody is interested, and then he persuades us. He's like, you know, let's just park the motorcycle here. I know a couple of people we can go talk to. So But of course, that was people he wanted to go see and do some deals with. So by this time, it's like getting dark, right? The sun's going down, so it's like 8 o'clock, and we're driving around.
It's getting a little sketchy.
Yeah, and so I'm like this little kid that doesn't know how to say no, easily peer pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll go with you, which is dumb, by the way.
Like, don't do that.
Here's
obviously.
a quick lesson. I was a good church going kid. Played drums on the worship team. Grew up in church. Always tried to do good. I cared for people. I was compassionate. I was a good person. No one's morally good, right? We're all sinners, but I saw myself as a good kid trying to do good, and you hang out with the wrong people, and you're doing the wrong thing. It could all be over. You could be dead like that.
Yeah.
Do something stupid, hanging out with people who are doing stupid things, and you find yourself in jail
very quickly.
It's not worth it. Doesn't matter who you are. So, we should hang out. Like Jesus, spent time with, prostitutes and drunks, and we should love those people, and we're really no different than them. But at the same time, hang out with the wrong crowd can really get you into trouble if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a big part of this testimony. But so going back to the story. It's like 8 p.m. and it's getting dark, and we pull up to this house, and this is like the ghetto. This is downtown Birmingham, like straight up in the ghetto. And so we come up to this house, and there's like 8 black dudes with like hoodies on, and I have friends who are black. Some of my best friends were black, so that's not a racist statement.
Yeah.
But
no, you're good.
As a 16-year-old white punk from Hoover, hanging out with these guys is kind of intimidating. They're big dudes. They're probably like 18, 19, 20. I'm like 16, So anyway, they're passing around this fat roach. I don't even know what was in it. It was just this big thing, and they're passing around, and it comes to me, and I'm like, okay. So I start smoking this thing, and I think I take 1 or 2 puffs. I get high as a kite, right? So I'm like, I'm gone.
Dude, you're kicking in with the homies. Oh man, so I know these stories.
So I'm like getting high as a kite, and then so I don't even know what's happening. I forgot all about the motorcycle at this point. Right now, I'm just doing whatever my neighbor wants to do.
You're just hanging out now.
And this is my mom's car again. My mom's 4Runner. So he's driving, and I'm just like this little whatever, sitting in the back seat. So anyway, these 2 black guys wanted to get a ride home, and they're like, "Hey, can you give us a ride home?" And we're like, "Sure, no big deal." And so they pile into the car. My best friend Jeremy sits in the passenger seat. My neighbor Aaron, that's his name, Aaron's driving. And I'm sitting in the back seat. These 2 guys get in the car with me, right? And we're driving, and it's no big deal. It's not a big deal. But we go to the gas station, and I was kind of feeling kind of eerie about it. So all the guys went in to buy some cigarettes, all of them except for me. And I got out, and I got into the front seat. I'm like, I'm not sitting back here with these dudes. So
this is my car. What the fuck?
So I'm like, so I get in the passenger seat, and all the guys come back in. And Jeremy, my friend, obviously, I took his spot. I'm high. I don't care.
You're in the back.
So he gets in the back seat, and then so we go to their house to drop them off, right? And so we pull up to their house, and the houses in downtown Birmingham are like, there's like. You could probably see these on a lot of movies, like Remember the Titans or something like that. The houses are like right on the street. You walk over the curb, and then like there's the steps, and you go up to the house.
Okay.
That's like super close, right? So these guys get up. I don't know why we're waiting. Maybe they were going inside to get something. I don't know, right? I'm out of it. But I see them. They go up to the house, and then they jiggle the house or whatever, and they come back to the car. They open up the passenger seat where I was sitting behind me.
Yeah.
Where Jeremy is now sitting. Yeah. And he's like, "You took my key." And Jeremy and my friend's like, "I didn't take your key." He's like, "You took my key, mother." And let's see. He slaps my friend Jeremy in the face. My friend Jeremy was like star football player, went in the army. He's like, "You don't mess with me."
Yeah.
So my friend Jeremy punches this dude in the face right there.
Just crashes him.
Punches him, yeah. But he did not know that he had a .45 revolver in his pants. So this guy pulls out a .45 revolver while standing at the car door with the car door open at a 45-degree angle and starts firing into the car, right? Which is really aiming at me.
Yeah,
all of us.
Exactly.
Well, because my friend who was driving Aaron, has been around this situation.
He just took off?
The moment he took that first shot, he hit the pedal and took off, and the guy kept firing. He emptied the clip in my mom's car. He emptied the whole clip. Dude. And so I have pictures to prove it, okay? So the door's open at a 45-degree angle, and so the bullet grazed the door. So half the bullet was inside the door, half the bullet was outside, because there's a 6-inch perfectly cut hole. Just like not a graze, but like a rip.
A
full-on like rip.
Like just right in the side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which went into my seatbelt panel right here. So there's a hole in the column of my thing, and the bullet fragments fell into the floor where my feet were. And then of course there's like 3 holes into the back of the car. So we go home, park the car, I go to sleep.
Dude, what were you thinking in that moment, dude? Like,
well, when it happened, because I was so high.
Were you just in shock or what?
It was the weirdest thing. My first thought was I was angry when I heard the first gunshot, because I thought my friend slammed the car door. And I was like, wow, that was loud, you jerk. Like, why would you... Because I'm high, right? I'm out of it. I just heard that. I was like shell shock. It was boom. And I was like in a daze, and then I just kept hearing the gunshots, and it was kind of like it was slow motion. Like, boom.
Because they're loud too.
Yeah, 45, it was super loud. And I didn't see the gun. I'm just sitting in the front seat out of it, and I hear the shot. So I'm like, whoa. You know?
Yeah.
So obviously we drove down the hill. We got out of there. We pulled over, and we're like, oh, a new memory comes to mind. So yeah, I guess they were saying like we've been shot at. So I did figure out that we had been shot at, and I was convinced I had been shot. Right? Like I felt it in the back of my head. I was like, I've been shot and shot. I'm like, check the back of my head. Jim was like, you're fine. I'm like, no, I know. I could feel like my mind told me there was like a trace, like a bullet trace. In my head and through my body. Like, I was freaking out. And my ears were ringing. Like,
that was probably the main issue too, because you're high, so like your ears are ringing and stuff, so it was like making everything feel bad, you know? You're like freaking out.
We pull over, we get out of the car, and we're like looking at the car, and we're like, oh my gosh, we just got shot at. Like, this was crazy.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny because I didn't say anything to my mom. I just went home, went to sleep. I went to school the next day. I still didn't say anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then,
bro.
And then she picks me up from school, and she's like, Daniel? I was like, yeah. She goes, did you back into something last night? There's holes in my car. I was like, no, Mom. I didn't back into anything. I got shot at. You know?
Jeez. Oh, what you
teenagers
say?
are, right? Like, no, Mom. Like, are you stupid?
Yeah. Look
They're
at
bullet
it.
holes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I got mad at her or something.
Yeah.
And then she started weeping, like crying so loud, and she started worshiping and praising God. Like I was really uncomfortable, you know, the way she was acting. But yeah, I almost died, right? And she was having this realization.
Did you ever have that realization? Did it ever like come to you later? Like, did it ever hit you and you're like, fuck, that was kind of intense.
Did. It did, and that's kind of where, you know, I'd always been a Christian. I always loved the Lord, but that was kind of when I really turned my life around, you know, like, you know, because like I said, I was in a small town, and I moved to the big city of Hoover.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any friends, so whoever accepted me, I was like, let's hang out. You know, there were guys that really liked me a lot, you know, and they were cool.
Yeah.
But they also loved to smoke pot, and they also loved to, you know, get in trouble and do other things. And so I was like, I didn't care. I just wanted, and I was depressed too because I moved to a big city away from all my friends and family. So I just, without realizing it, it wasn't like I was doing it on purpose. I just kind of got sucked into that lifestyle. I was like, here I am. I'm a drummer for our worship team. I'm a pastor's kid. I've grown up in church my whole life. I love the Lord. Here I am hanging out with the wrong people, and I might lose I could have lost my life over this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is not worth it, you know. And you and I know people who a few different people who are experiencing this right now. You know, they're hanging out with the wrong people. They're good people, but they hang out with the wrong people. They've made a few dumb decisions, and they're paying the consequences.
Yep.
You know, they're in jail now because, and they know the Lord, and they're probably sitting there thinking the same thing. Wow, was it worth it?
Yeah. Was
it worth it? No, it wasn't worth it.
And like you said, you know, it's just so quickly when you hang out with the wrong people, and it's not, you can't really blame anybody else for your actions, but But when you start hanging out with the wrong crowd, you quickly start making those wrong actions and those even the way they act, even the bad attitudes or whatever. You start having that bad attitude because you're around it all the time.
Yeah.
Or they start doing things that just start seeming normal, so you just start whatever. I'll just let it go, and then you start being part of that crowd, and then you just start going south quick.
So true,
quickly.
Man.
Yeah.
We can certainly influence people, but they influence us. So
no matter what you say.
Yeah. So I mean, we should hang out with those people. Because that's what we're called to do as Christians. We should never have this self-righteous attitude like, oh, we're better than you, and we're not going to spend time with you.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and hanging out with the wrong crowd and doing the wrong things and putting yourself in situations where you're being influenced negatively and you're also making bad decisions. And I feel I feel bad for some of these people that we know, but at the same time I don't feel sorry for them because some of them have been told over and over and over, you're making your own decisions. You're making your own decisions. Be careful. And, so just this whole experience for me is just like it was God's grace and mercy that I didn't get shot and killed, or didn't end up in prison.
Did you always believe in God? Did you always you just knew? You just always knew?
Yeah, I always did because, there's a place in my life where as a kid, I remember working, and someone told me, who was not a Christian, I was 16, running food to houses, and this guy's like, you only believe what you believe because your parents raised you that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, and it was like, that's not true, but, as I thought about it, I was like,
it's kind of true.
In any culture, in any religion, you're raised up believing what your parents believe because that's what they taught you, and so... Yeah, there was a time when I had to come as an adult. I'm like, wow, this faith stuff is, this can be hard to believe. Some people think faith is believing in the ridiculousness, without any evidence, but the Christian faith is very, there's lots of evidence to the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And, the Bible is historically proven and archaeologically proven, and so just seeing how the scriptures unfolded over 2 millennium and how there are seemingly contradictions in scripture, but there's no contradictions. There's things difficult to understand, but as you see all the things come together over hundreds and hundreds of years and the preservation of scripture, and it's just, that's why you see books like Case for Christ, lawyers who are atheists, like lawyers who set out to disprove Christianity, and they start embarking on this huge research project to disprove Christianity, and then all of a sudden their faith is awakened and they come to Christ. They're like, this is real, and they can't deny it. And now they're out evangelizing and preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
So I definitely have had that experience in my own life, and I'm certainly on my journey. Still on my own faith journey, but yes, I've always, ever since a kid and ever since I was little, I always knew that I would be a pastor.
You just kind of that was your goal.
As like a 5-year-old kid, but my dad was a pastor too, so part of that is cool. I want to be like my dad, but I know for sure that this is what I'm called to do, as a worship pastor, yes, but as a lead pastor, pastoring and teaching the word, and staying in one place. I know God calls people to move around like you've moved. I do believe God's called people to move. We moved from Alabama, but I feel that the Lord has told me to stay here for a long time. It's my unique calling. I feel like if you stay in one place, if you don't give up, you keep working hard, you can make a difference over time. So.
Yeah, that's good, man. I don't know. I felt like we needed just a fresh start, in Arizona. It's a nice spot. We both got jobs already over there. Really good schools for the kids. We're kind of close to some pro teams, Arizona Cardinals, Arizona Diamondbacks, Phoenix Coyotes, WNBA.
Dude, that's true.
Or Phoenix Suns. So it's
so you're going to be going to some games.
Yeah, there's some stuff for the kids to do, So that's why it's same weather, same desert.
Yeah.
It's just in Arizona,
but more sports,
more stuff going on. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm a little bit jealous. I wouldn't live here by choice. Let me just put it like
yeah.
I know I hear like a lot of people are like,
I'm from Blythe originally, so anywhere past Blythe is pretty good. I'm from like basically nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, so anywhere like this was a little step up, but I don't know the valley. I don't know. I like the valley, but I didn't want to be here forever.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like this was somewhere I needed to be for 30 years or whatever.
I totally understand.
Yeah, but we'll see how that goes over there, man. It's nice so far, and made a few connections, and we'll see how everything goes over there.
I'm happy for you. Yeah, like if I could, if I was like, I'm gonna choose wherever I want to live, I'm just gonna go there, I'd probably choose somewhere else. You know what I mean? I would be like San Diego or maybe back to the south. But that's why I feel like it's important to find your passion, do it for the glory of God. Aim your passion toward God's purpose.
Since we're still on the God subject. Like for people, because I believe in God, I believe in something. I believe there's somebody above us and somebody that's kind of like there's got to be somebody guiding this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you say towards the people that feel like they don't feel anything or they don't know about God and they want to, or they want to try, or they want to continue to keep believing, but they don't feel like they've seen or felt anything? Like what do you say to those people, or how do you get them in that direction?
My relationship with God isn't, first of all, as a Christian, it's not built on my feelings. I don't always feel things. I don't wake up every day and just feel the presence of God.
Yeah, exactly.
But because, and we live in a world of suffering, and Jesus, being a Christian also doesn't mean that we're not going to have suffering. Sometimes like things, for example, that can confuse us, like when Jesus says, Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy, which explains the fallen world and the suffering. It's not because God did it, it's because Satan did it. But then he says, I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. And we go, oh, really? Because I don't feel the abundance of life.
Exactly.
I experience a lot of suffering. As a Christian, I experience a lot of suffering. But what I've learned is that the abundant Christian life that Jesus talks about isn't material blessings. It's not riches. It's a spirit blessing. So although I face anguish in life and suffering and hardship and emotions and difficult marriage sometimes, I can have joy through it all. So that's the difference between joy and happiness, right? Happiness is based off of circumstances. When my marriage is good, I'm happy. When my career is going good, I'm happy. But what happens when your girlfriend breaks up with you? What happens when your spouse dies? What happens when you lose your job? Tragedy strikes all the time. And so the Christian faith, the reason that we can have abundance in the Christian faith is because we may not be happy all the time, but we have a joy that lives beneath the surface. Right? Yeah. So even when all these happy things fail us, I can have joy because I'm living for the larger story. Right? So there's two stories. There's my story. So this is a great thing about our faith, is that God is the Lord of space and time. So he created space and he created time. And so as mortals, we live within time. So we have a birth date and we have a death date. We want to make the most of this mist, right? We know we're like grass, and we want to make the most of this time on life, but it's going to end. You're going to face tragedy in your life.
Exactly.
This world is going to come to an end, so where is your faith? Is your faith in this world? Because if it's in this world will fail you. But if our faith is in the larger story, then it helps us to persevere through hardship. So really, to go back to your question, I don't always feel things, but Christians have hope in a larger story.
Yeah. People
who don't believe the story, they don't have hope in a larger story. They have hope in their circumstances that fail them, and it's hope deferred. Hope deferred makes the heart sick when you lose these things, So, but to answer your question, I don't think that we can really do anything. I really believe that a work of God is a work of God. So the Lord, and this is a Bible truth, is that the Lord initiates work in the hearts of people. He's the one who awakens your faith. He's the one who He's the one who helps you to experience Him. And there are feelings associated with our Christian faith. So, Jesus says, "Peace I give you, but not as the world gives peace." So He gives a different kind of peace. So it's a peace that passes understanding. It's a peace that doesn't make sense. So we can have peace. We can have joy. Those are fruits of the Spirit. But I would encourage them to turn to the Lord, because there is something we can do. It's like a partnership. Like think about a plant. So how does a plant grow? We don't make it grow.
Yeah.
God makes it grow. We can't explain how a plant grows, but we have to do our part. We have to water the plant. We have to cultivate the soil around the plant. We have to take care of the plant, but God brings the growth. So in our own life, if we're rejecting God and running from Him, and we're not watering and cultivating our spiritual life, then we're not going to have a plant that grows. We'll have no spiritual health. We'll have no growth. Yeah. So I believe that it's a partnership. My advice is that, in the words of Samuel said in the Old Testament, this is what I would say to that person. He says, trying to think of the exact words. How about I look it up?
All right.
Is that cool?
Yeah, there you go.
Because I know where it's at, but I don't want to misquote it.
Yeah, like for me, for example, that's kind of where I'm getting not even like with Christianity, for example, or whatever, but I'm just thinking bigger. And I'm trying to think,
Gotcha.
Like obviously there's something bigger than just right here in these small obstacles that we live in our everyday life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm in the middle of that. Like I believe in God, something. I don't know if it's a certain religion or what. I just believe in God, and I believe in living life right and living it good morally. And hopefully I'll figure it out along the way, man.
What, man? We're all on our own journey, and we are where we are. God is patient.
Exactly.
That's one of His. I was just studying one of His attributes yesterday. Is that God is patient. He gives grace. His grace means that He came down to rescue us by His life, death, and resurrection, and His grace is a gift. It's not something we earn. We don't earn God's grace. I heard a professor say one time that the story of the Bible is how mankind has to earn God's grace. But that's actually not the message of Scripture. It's Jesus freely offers grace. And His patience is that He's waiting for you to accept it. God's patience is that He's waiting for us to accept His grace. So to the person who wants to be open to the Christian gospel, this is what I would say. Okay, so the prophet Samuel said to people who were rejecting God. So it's just a couple of verses here. And Samuel said to the entire house of Israel, if you are returning to the Lord with all of your heart, so the key word is all. So if we can't get past the all, then the rest doesn't matter. If you're returning to the Lord with all of your heart, then put away the foreign gods from among you. So number one, put away the foreign gods from among you. And foreign gods can be anything that we put before God. Number two, he says, direct your heart to the Lord. Number three, serve Him only. And number four, He will deliver you out of the hand of slavery. So God is the one who delivers. God is the one who heals. God will open your eyes. He will awaken your faith. Anyone listening, He will awaken their faith. He will give them an experience. So grace is an active experience. It's not head knowledge. It's not learning stuff about God. It's you can experience the grace of God in a way that frees you. The Word shows us what a free person looks like, what the human looks like that's not bound in sin. We live in a fallen world bound to sin. The Word shows us what a free person looks like. And so Samuel's advice is, look, if you'll stop running from Him, like Adam and Eve did, and the rest of creation ever since, we reject His authority, we cling to self-independence. It's all about me. I'm my own authority. My feelings are my authority.
Yeah.
If we'll stop rejecting Him and we'll turn to Him, right? If we'll put away our individualism and our selfishness and our foreign gods, if we'll direct our heart to the Lord, receive His grace and mercy, and serve Him, He will deliver us from the hand of slavery. So I really do believe that people can be free. They can be free in their life. They can feel free. They can wake up free. You can be free of anxiety. I still have anxiety. We all have anxiety, but for the most part, the things that keep us bound, the hurts and the hang-ups, we can be free from those things if we'll give our life to Jesus.
I kind of see that in my dad. My dad's a good example for me because I see him. He has like no issues. Nothing bothers him. He has
oh really?
Every problem, everything. He could have issues among the family, issues anywhere, and he's like looks like he's just calm and collected always. And I'm like...
And he recently gave his life, you know, like, he had a spiritual transformation.
Yeah.
Like, a few years back, I think. Or...
He's always been pretty religious, but he didn't go to church a lot, and then he kind of saw Church 212, and, you know, my wife went, the kids, and so it was kind of easy for him to get in there again. Yeah. And so...
That's awesome.
He's like,
your dad's so cool, man.
Yeah, he's always just...
Your parents chilling. Are, like, sweet people. Yeah, cool. Every time I see your dad, he's just so calm.
That's what I want to be like, man. Definitely, I want to be exactly like my dad. It's hard to though, because I don't think I'm anywhere near that guy. That guy is a.
It's a journey. Life's a journey. I'm sure when your dad was your age, you know, like
yeah.
I'm sure he was. You know, we're all on our journey, man. We can't beat ourselves up for where we are. Just like, there's a really cool book. It's not a Christian book, but I think you'll like it a lot. Like. And I only read I heard somebody mention, I only read the beginning. It's called Atomic Habits. And it's a sports story, which is really cool. It starts with a sports story. So I don't know who it is. You'll probably know who the athlete is. Uh-huh. But it talks about how all big things have small beginnings. And how if you're disciplined and you have something you believe in and you take really small increments every single day, you'll have an enormous outcome down the road. So he talked about how he wasn't good enough baseball player in high school. Like, he got cut from the team as a freshman. I think he had an injury or something, and he didn't really play high school baseball very much, I think. And I can't remember exactly the story, but so he had some struggles. I don't know if he didn't play senior year or something like that. But he had this passion inside. He's like, I want to do this. So he set out, and he had daily disciplines of increasing his skill level, ended up playing at college, and he went on to professional baseball.
That is crazy.
And he surpassed people who were better than him. Eventually, he surpassed them and became way better than them.
Because of how disciplined he was and how much...
Yeah. And we know there's a lot of pro athletes. There's pro athletes who have natural talent, but then there's the ones who, they had some natural talent, but they made themselves where they are.
Exactly.
You know, so you're not... You know, Tiger Woods doesn't show up on Saturday and just win the major, right? Yeah. He has to go every day for hours when no one's watching. He's bored. He wants to go eat some snacks or watch some movies or something.
Well, have you seen those videos of him from when he was a kid?
Oh, yeah.
And he's golfing, man.
Exactly.
That guy's been golfing forever.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I don't even remember what brought that up. Oh, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey as a young person or anywhere. Just, you know, set out. You can have, like, an atomic outcome.
If you got a mission, you got a goal, just keep going towards it.
Yeah.
And if you know you got something you want to do, you know, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to take work. Exactly. Obviously.
Which is why I'm, like, so excited about your podcast and seeing, you know, like, you texting the other day. I already knew that you had this podcast, but you texted, you know, and you're like, hey, which logo do you guys like? And I was like, logo for what? You know?
Yeah.
You have other ideas, you know? And so just to encourage you, like, and you already have a cool little following happening, you know, and you're already having success with this podcast, just, you know, and things will change, but just don't ever give up.
Just keep going
on the dreams that you have and that you feel God has placed in your heart. And it doesn't matter who you are. I'm a little country boy from nowhere, and I spent my 20s ridden with fear and anxiety and, you know, not feeling like I'm never going to be good enough. And the Lord has healed me and is healing me from that. And I'm just learning that, you know, I have my own unique identity in the Lord, and whatever He's called me to do, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'll be successful in the way He wants me to be successful, and I work hard, you know, like the dreams that I have.
What dreams do you got, man? What's your 5-10-year plan?
So, I love songwriting. I have some albums out. I want to keep writing as a singer-songwriter.
Where can they find them at? Where can they find one of your albums at?
You can go, first of all, you can go to worshipwriter.com. Okay. You can subscribe if you want, and you can get a couple free downloads, or you can stay up to date and get albums. You can go to Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, just about anywhere.
Search your name and it'll... Yeah,
search in Daniel Harrison. You can look up Turn My Desert. It's a popular song people love on YouTube. Type in Turn My Desert. I just came out with a new single a couple weeks ago called The Father Sees Jesus. So I want to keep making music. It does cost a lot of money. The long-term goal for me is I feel like I'm going to stay here. I want to pastor. I want to teach the word.
Are you hoping to take over this, like, from your...
Well, that's information I'm not going to throw out. Okay.
On the... Okay.
I'm going to do whatever. Like I said, we make our plans, and the Lord has His plans. So my plan is to be faithful with the gifts God has given me now, and to be disciplined with the talents that He's given me. So, like, every day I have certain disciplines where I read the Word, and I have disciplines where I study theology. I have disciplines where I'm reading topical books. And doing songwriting. And so I have so many things I'm doing at once. But every single day, I do just a little bit of each. And instead of, like, going, oh, I'm going to just read books this week, or I'm going to study theology this book.
Keeps everything fresh, huh?
I just have, like, I putt one, I'll do putting and chipping, and I'll go to the driving range. But I apply that to all my areas. And so I feel like long term, I want to be a successful teacher of the Word, but I also want to understand our culture, because I believe that in order to really impact our culture, you have to understand the culture. Like, we have to understand the issues that we're dealing with, and our culture is rapidly changing. It's funny because people make culture, but then culture turns around and shapes us. And because it's always moving, I believe
that's weird. I didn't even think it's basically just a circle. It's just always going.
Which is why I believe that Christians can and will influence our culture, and so I want to be a catalyst. That's why I want to stay in one place for a long time, is I believe that I can be a catalyst for helping people, by working and leading people in this, our own church family, to show the love of God to our community, and just to help our culture. So long term, I'm going to continue to write songs. I went to school as a songwriter. I could abandon all this and just pursue being an artist, and I feel like I could be successful at that, but the Lord hasn't called me to do that. So the songwriting is supplemental for me to the work God has called me to do, which is stay here, teach the Word, make disciples.
Keep spreading the Word.
Just spread the love of Jesus. Serve. I want to serve our community. I want to mobilize people to serve, to truly that's what love is. Love is not preaching at people. Love is serving people, and showing the love of God. It's not with our lips. It's with our lives.
Yeah.
So my passion is I want to help people to, I guess I could sum it up like this. My passion is I want to help people to experience the grace of God in such a way that they go out there and they live on the mission of Christ. And they're spreading the love of Jesus and the good news to every corner of our Coachella Valley.
There you go.
Take the mission to the marketplace.
This is not too far off subject. You're just talking about it, but sir, for somebody who wants to be a songwriter or like a singer or anything like that, what are the steps to getting a song written? Let's say one song. What are from beginning to end? What are you doing to get it all prepared?
So like writing the song or getting it out there. Kind of
everything.
Okay,
let's go. Let's give.
First of all, I'd love to recommend. There's an academy called CMI, and you have to pay like $250 a month, but this is a Christian music industry, but there's a lot of people that it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a Christian. There are great industry artists at this academy. It's a year-long academy. There's like online modules. They teach you all these things about, first of all, how to structure a song, how to write the song. For example, like writing a song would be, finding the North Star, or what is your main point of the song. Find that theme. Maybe first write a great chorus, because that's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
Write a great chorus. And then, once you find that hooky, amazing chorus that declares that North Star, then build a structure around it. Write the verses and things. Now, some say that I've written a lot of songs by starting with verse 1. I don't think you should say, here's how you write a song, because I've had melodies come to me in an instant, and it was a verse, and it took me forever to write the chorus because I had a great verse, and sometimes I end up having to redo it because the verse doesn't match a good chorus, and so there's really no one way to do it. Another way is you can write down, get a piece of paper, and just write down little phrases. Just keep writing ideas down and write as many ideas about this subject as you can. Then you can look over them, review them, and even try and write melodies to them. Like take this line and sing a little melody, and then match it with that melody, and then rewrite them. And so the more like visual lines that you have.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I hear a lot with even because I listen to Joe Rogan, and I mention it, I feel like every single podcast, because he's like my
really?
inspiration. Yeah, the Joe Rogan experience is like
that's
my
awesome.
main thing. But that's what he talks about too, is just basically like always writing. Like that's like everybody's main thing. Even like for you, even the songwriting and his is like stand-up comedy. It's like always just write it. Just write it down. Write something. Just continue to write, and it'll kind of come to you as you're writing. You know.
You'll write like 50 bad songs before you write a good one. I've written hundreds of terrible songs. I've even shared bad songs and was like, that was so lame. Why did I share that song at church? You know?
Yeah.
Share songs before they're finished, or something's just not right about this song. I've struggled and struggled. Every once in a while I hit a home run. I'll be like, yes, I finally wrote a good song, you know. But just write all the time. If you're a writer, as a songwriter or essay writer or blogger, whatever, you get better as you work on your craft. You know, if you go to the golf range every day or whatever, so you'll get better. You can find other academies that aren't Christian oriented, you know, like CMI.com, I think, or CMIacademy.com. You know, I'm sure there's tons of other types of online courses like that where you can just type it in Google, how to be successful as an artist, and you'll find courses and things. And you need coaching, because you need to learn how to get, you know, once you have let's say you have a great song, well, you could put a really bad band together and the song's not going to be great, you know. So you can also hire professional musicians to help you if you're wanting to take that next step as an artist. You may have to spend money to have your music professionally produced, at least in the beginning. To help you get a good band together and learn how to pitch those songs to certain media outlets and online platforms. Nowadays, man, there's so many online platforms that are looking for indie artists, you know, that'll share your music. And, you know, I have music playing on the radio station here at 106.1. I have music in Riverside.
Really?
Yeah. And actually, I should be on the radio 106.1 this Sunday, July 21st, between 8 and 9. So I went and talked to TLC. Do you know who TLC is? She's the female voice for 106.1.
I do not, but okay. Yeah.
So anyway,
I know 106.1 is a country station out here.
So
really.
I had really great musicians, you know, record my songs for me. I have good musicians here at the church, but by wanting to get the message to a broader audience, you know, I had quality musicians, like professional musicians, help me with my music.
Yeah.
And so you send that to the radio station, they hear a song produced from Nashville, and they instantly say, I love this song, we're playing it on the radio.
Wow.
Even if it's maybe not the greatest, you know, like maybe the greatest point or song. You know, a lot of songs these days are like super easy lyrics, you know.
I know.
Sometimes cheesy, you know, so you're amazed at how well a professional recording will help you.
Were you on it? Did you sing, or did you just write the song on the...
So the new single that released, I sung on it. It's my
nice.
Voice. Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
On my albums, I actually played guitar like one time.
Okay.
And I sang on all of them. But I had some friends of mine from Nashville, Tennessee, actually make the albums. Now the next album I'm making, I'm using a couple local players in conjunction with some players from there.
Okay.
So I'm trying to use some like Amador and Sean Poe are two drummers that are at that level of professionality, and I want them to have a piece of the pie. So, but I'm still using Nashville players. So I'm going to do a little bit of a mixture next time. But having a professional recording is really important. And I mean, start where you are. You know, if you're making, you know, some people have a dream of, I don't want to use another studio. I want to make my own studio. Go for it. Build a studio.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you are where you are, and you learn from everything you do. I've done so many things. I've started blogs and things, started, you know, the podcast. Things have failed, but I learned how to set up a podcast. I could help you set up a podcast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, and I've learned about blogging. I can help people build websites. I know how to do email marketing and how to build a fan base, how to have an email list.
That's what I'm learning right now. The email list. I'm literally learning it all right now.
I spent like 100 hours on that stuff.
Yeah. I've
learned so many things by trying things that you learn. And down the road, you know, as a teacher, all this blogging stuff, and as a songwriter, it's benefited me. You know, I still have my blog going now. I don't really blog much, but it's there for like, you know, releasing new music. Like, hey, here's the
Is that
song.
Worship Writer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's cool though. I like that you're still doing that, because you've been doing that for years now. I feel.
I have. Yeah, I have. Like I said, I'm not consistent at blogging. You know, if you're going to be a blogger, you got to be consistent at it. You can't stop, because you lose trust with people. You know, if you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and then you don't do it, and I've done that. Hey guys, new idea, I'm doing this, and then you don't do it. You come back 3 months later, oh, this is what we're doing now, and you don't do it. You start losing trust, you know, with your followers, and people unsubscribe. And so if you're gonna be a blogger, be consistent at it. You know, that's not my thing. I tried to be a blogger, you know, and I was like forcing myself to write good stuff, and it just didn't work out great.
It just wasn't your style. Just too much. Yeah. Not really. You didn't enjoy it.
I did enjoy it, but I found myself, because I was kind of new, working really hard. It was like a hobby that took lots of time, and I was exhausted. And then I felt like I was like trying to teach people stuff because I wanted to teach them stuff, and I wanted to blog, and I did want to help people, but you know, it was like this dual motive thing. You know, it was like I was like, is God really wanting me to do this? Because I'm like stressed out about this.
Like, this isn't really. Yeah,
you know,
I don't feel like this is fulfilling me.
Yeah,
really,
so I was like, now my blog is just a platform for me to just occasionally, like, I had a big pitch, like, hey, you ready for the journey? I think that language is still on there. I'm gonna change that, you know. But I had like this, like, you can do automated as a blogger or artist. You can have automated messages. So I think I have like 17 automated messages where I have selected the message I want to send you after 4 weeks, after 6 weeks, at 3 months. It's like, hey, and I had already pre-written and pre-organized everything.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point with podcasting, writing, songwriting, blogging, whatever. You do all this work behind the scenes, and it works for you while you're sleeping. You know, at 3 months, you can be like, hey, here's a product if you want to buy it for $10. So as you're building your following...
Yeah, and you don't have to type that email out this week. That way it's already all typed out. You already have it all prepared.
If you have 3 or 4 products, you can spread them out. And as someone opts in today, 3 months from now, they're going to get something you already wrote like a year ago about this little ebook or something. It's like $2 or $10 or, you know. So you can get really strategic in the digital world, you know, and you can generate income. You can generate a lot of income because you have millions, billion people at your fingertips in their pocket. They pull out their phone and they're looking at stuff you've created and they're buying your content. You know, as a speaker, as a blogger, I can reach, you know, I wrote a blog once. In 1 week, it had like 350 reads. Well, when I speak on Sunday, I'm only speaking to like 200 adults. So blogging potentially has, and podcasting has a way more powerful reach in this day and age than simply, you know, that doesn't mean this isn't important. You know, being with people is really, in the community is really important. Yeah. But just the potential reach that you have in the digital world these days.
Internet, you can reach anywhere. You can go different countries. You can go anywhere, man. I've actually had my podcast. I was looking at some of the analytics, and it was listened to in like one person listened to it in like England or something like that.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, and I was like,
that's awesome.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I've seen like a couple different countries, so you can definitely get out there. You know, somebody randomly searches it and they like what you have said on there, and you might listen to it.
Absolutely. And if somebody big watches it and they like it and they share it with their email list, so you can connect with other podcasters or other writers who have email lists, and if you build a network with them and they share your stuff with their email list, let's say you meet a friend who's a podcaster and y'all are really cool and he likes you a lot and he has like 5,000 email subscribers, and he's like, hey man, I'll share your stuff, you know, I like this video, and then he shares your video with his email list. Then all of a sudden, 10% of those, you know, you get like, you know,
500.
Yeah, you get 500 new email subscribers. Yeah. Like that. You know, so you just gotta.
That's what I didn't do with this podcast because it was kind of like me figuring it out as on the go. I didn't do all that back end stuff. And this next one, the YouTube channel and the kind of basically like the sports network that I'm in the middle of building, I'm doing a lot more back end work. Yeah. And you know,
I would love to recommend a resource. Go to tribewriters.com. Yeah. There's this guy, he's like, he's becoming super famous right now, and he's got like, years ago he had like 400,000 email subscribers, and he probably has even more now, but he built a whole module on how to build an online platform. So whether you're a blogger or podcast,
I think you sent me some of the info.
How to tribewriters.com, how to build your online platform, how to generate income, how to build an email list, how to network with other people, all that. And he has a million other resources. He has a whole, at his his personal blog is goinswriter.com, Goins, goinswriter.com. Click on resources, even helpful for you. He has a huge list of resources that are in this field of, this study. Yeah. And just so many great resources to help with all that stuff. So.
Yeah, you got a lot of resources, bro. You've done all the research.
But I've done all the stuff like you're doing now. Even if you start something that's not great, you learn stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna take your experience with this podcast, and you're gonna take it on to your next podcast.
Yeah.
And who knows what other idea you might have down the road, 10 years from now. All this hard work and trying and even failing or not getting followers, whatever, all this experience goes into the next thing. Where eventually, so don't get discouraged with where you are in the small stages, because all big things have small beginnings.
And I think people need to stop looking at everything as like a pass and a fail, everybody looks at something and it's like, oh, it didn't work out exactly how I wanted to, so I failed. And it's like, not really. What you did was you learned. You gain knowledge. So That's kind of how I look at everything. Every situation, every problem, every issue that I get into every day, I'm kind of taking it more as a learning, as a lesson than a problem. Because it's like, it's just a lesson.
Failures
you get smarter every day. You're getting smarter if you pay attention and you focus.
That's good. That's good.
So that's what
Failures teach you.
Everything. A lot of failures, successes teach you too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
You feel that success and you're like, ooh, I want some more of that.
Yeah. John Maxwell wrote a book called Failing Forward.
Yeah.
You fail forward.
Yeah.
My dad always says failure's not an option. And I like to think of it like the end result of failure is not an option, but failures are options.
It's like, the battles.
Because they teach us.
The small battles before the war, Like, it's okay to lose a few battles.
Yeah.
As long as you win the war,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I saw something about Michael Jordan, There's like, you could probably Google it. There was an image, and I can't even remember what it said, but he's like, you look at how many shots he's made,
Oh, and then all the ones he's missed.
He's like, but I've missed this many shots. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you missed that many shots, or here's how many buzzer beater shots I missed.
Yeah.
You see the highlights of him winning the game-winning shots, but then he's like, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of shots I took to win the game, and I didn't make them.
Yeah.
So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There
keep shooting.
You're gonna make it. One of them's gonna fall.
Eventually, you're gonna hit a buzzer beater, and it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think we should wrap it up. This is a pretty good podcast. Yeah. So maybe give yourself a shout out where people can find you. The church. Tell them where the church is at. Kind of tell them a little bit of info.
So church212.com or 212. We're at Cook Street. We have a great church facility here. Great music. I mean, I'm a little biased, but. Church212.com. My music.
The worship pastor.
My music is worshipwriter.com. You can look up my music on, like we said, just about any online distribution. And coming out with a new single in November. It's a country single that I'm writing for my 10-year anniversary, and it's going to play on 106.1.
Oh, there you go.
I'm hoping on November 21st. It even has November 21st in the song. So I'm really hoping to play it on the radio. So if you subscribe to my website, you can get that information. Then I'm working on a new album, so in the next few years.
So it's for your anniversary with your
the
wife?
Single is
your marriage.
I'm writing a new song. I wrote a new song for my wife. Yeah,
that'll be nice.
And it talks about.
Does she know about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna keep it secret, but it was kind of difficult because I was gonna be traveling to Nashville to do some singing. And
how does that work?
Anyway, yeah, it talks about what a jerk I've been the last 10 years, so I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
It does talk about kind of the struggle a little bit.
Marriage and life.
Has it been perfect,
Yeah.
It seems like I have a Facebook perfect life, and we all see that. We all see the happy times and the smiles, and, it's like, oh, your life is perfect, and not me specifically, but we think that about people,
Yeah.
The reality is behind the scenes, marriage is hard, and Heather and I have had really hard times. And we just said divorce isn't an option, and so no matter how hard it gets, until death do us part. And she always says things like, I'll fight with you the rest of my life, as long as it's you, and that lyric is even in the song, and she always talked about how love purifies, or hard times is kind of like going through the fire, and fire purifies, and so that's in the song too,
that's
so
cool, man.
Through the fire, through it all.
So you put in a little bit of things that she says and put
put some of the things she said in there, and It's a very simple song, but it's called 60 More. So our 10-year anniversary, you know, it hasn't been perfect, you know,
You're
but
hoping to go another
in
60.
sickness and in health, you know, for better or for worse. It's been better, it's been worse. We've been happy, we've been hurt, but through it all, we're together until death do us part.
Yeah.
I want 60 more, you know, so that's kind of so it's for her, but I also believe that it will encourage young people who are struggling.
Especially nowadays, man, and where we're at in life and everything, people don't really take marriage seriously. They get married and they don't really understand it.
Yeah.
I think marriage is like, it's gonna be work, man. You're gonna have hard times.
Yeah.
You're gonna have times where you probably hate the other person.
Oh yeah.
But you gotta just get through it, bro.
I've been disgusted at my wife. I've despised her.
Yeah.
She has despised me and been disgusted with me. You know, the honeymoon stage ends.
It does. Come on, man.
Marriage is a commitment that you make for each other under the Lord and for your kids. You know, and it's worth it in the long run. Now there are situations that are abusive and certain conditions that you need to get out of your marriage, but fighting and being mad at the other person isn't.
That's not one of the reasons to get divorced, huh?
Yeah.
She forgot to make your dinner at 6, you know. that's not. Come on, bro.
Exactly.
What? Yeah.
This is over.
So yeah, this is the end of the 15th. Do you want to end it with a song? Do you want to play a little something?
Yeah, I'll play a song for you guys.
Let's close it out. We'll close it out with that.
All right. This is a super simple song. Here's a pick. Got to keep picks everywhere. Just okay.
I need to learn how to play guitar. I'm hoping one of these days.
So this is cool because we talked about, you know, what can a person do that doesn't, you know, that wants to come close to God, and we talked about it being something God initiates. What makes us right before God? What is the thing? What is the I've heard it said the instrumental cause, like the exact cause of salvation, the thing that changes us. And it's not works, it's not performance, it's not working hard, it's not trying to be good enough, it's not sinning less, it's faith. The Bible says we're saved by faith alone. So when we trust in the work Jesus did in his life, death, and resurrection, and we have faith in that, we believe in that, we are credited as being righteous. So it's all about what Jesus has done. It's not about what we have done. So the album that I'm working on, no one has heard this song yet. So this is like debut.
This is an exclusive?
Yeah, this is debut.
Shit.
This song is called Faith. This song is called Faith Alone. And this is the name of the album that's coming up. So it's super easy. The verse says, to whom has the arm of the Lord come down? Who has believed in his awesome love? And it says, it came to me and I believe. And then it says, we're saved by faith alone. So it's this picture of God doing the work, but us reaching out in faith. So
just believe.
Yeah. alone, not by works that man may boast. In his finished work, it is done. You credit righteousness to the sinner who believes. Jesus, I believe it is done. We're saved by faith alone.
That's a good song. I like it. So I know you're saying the single is November 21st, right? For your wife?
I'm going to release
this album.
So this is something I'm working on. I don't know if I'm going to do a couple. I know that like singles are a new thing. I was thinking about doing some singles like progressively or a couple, you know, instead of just doing all of it at once.
Have you done any music videos?
I have.
Nice.
Yeah, Turn My Desert.
On YouTube?
On YouTube,
okay.
yeah. It's a music video. So, yeah.
So how sorry, I kind of interrupted you.
No,
but
you
when
didn't.
When do you think it's going to be released, or a single going to be released?
I might do this early. I'm doing a single next year, I think, called Eternally Secure. And then maybe not next year, but maybe the year after that, I might do this song as like a teaser, which is funny because The Father Sees Jesus that I just did was a teaser for this album. Yeah. And that was going to be number 4. The song I just released was going to be number 4 on the album. Then I wrote that song, and it took its place on the upcoming album. So now the album's called Faith Alone. So the song that I just recorded is no longer a teaser for the album.
It's not even in the album anymore.
It's like a teaser for the teaser.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll record this one, not next year, but the year after that, or maybe next fall. I don't know. Soon as possible.
Man, this is really exclusive. Then this is people are getting to see like the beginning of it.
I've written all these songs, and what I want to do in the past, I've done albums without really sharing songs much, and so now I'm introducing songs to church, making sure they're singable, lovable, and you know the theology's good. It connects with people, and I want to sing them for a while at church before I record the album. So when the album comes out, it'll be really special.
Just be comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Feel like second nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite song ever, and I can't wait to record it. So.
It sounded beautiful.
Thank
Loved
you.
it. Yeah. And I like the no acts or that men may boast.
Oh yeah.
That's not how you're living your life, or that doesn't even really matter. You know.
Yeah, it's not by works.
That's beautiful.
We can't boast because grace is a gift.
Exactly.
So we're just thankful that it's a free gift from God.
Yeah. Thanks, I appreciate it.
I'm stoked.
This was a good one.
I'm so stoked. That was a lot of fun, man.
Say peace out to the camera.
Peace out, camera and friends.